Therefore, as you see, I'm not ready. Therefore, me and him decided to do a little pop-up show and talk about a few things. Again, this is a podcast, so you cannot be late. You cannot miss it. You cannot do any of that stuff, any of the excuses. But it's really just a conversation between friends and family if you guys choose to come in, or it'll be on YouTube and we will just charge it to the game. But I am in the midst of programming. Well, it's already programmed. Saturday, as you know, I do a show Saturday at 5 p.m. Built for this network and on YouTube, the End of the Bench podcast. And I've decided to do a show on parenting. A lot of my brothers, I don't want to hear nothing after this thing goes by the wayside. Hey man, you didn't call me, you didn't ask me, you didn't do any of that because I don't want to hear it. And just being honest with you and being raw dog honest with you, I don't want to hear that nonsense. I asked a lot of men, I asked a lot of ladies. Only people that responded was the ladies. As of right now, I'm waiting on the homie Big Illinois to come on through. We'll have a conversation about a few things. Parenting being one of them, man. One of the biggest stories in the media today is Kirk Franklin. Too cute. Thank you for the support. It's always good to see you. One of the biggest stories in the media today is the homie Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin has an issue. He has an issue with a child, or is it really a child? We're going to talk about that, and I'll go to my normal spiel about this is a podcast. You can catch it on various platforms, Spreaker.com. I'm not prepared at all because, again, this is impromptu. I just want to talk about it. I want to, I'm going to invite people in. We will have the conversation. Big Illinois has a previous engagement, so even if the conversation gets good, we're going to continue it. But you can always follow the conversation on Spreaker.com, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Podcast Addict, or whatever platform that you download your podcast from. Big Illinois should be in about a minute. And as I stated, man, this is just an impromptu conversation about parenting today. Because as Black parents, we face a totally different set of obstacles. Our children are being medicated. After the fourth grade is the benchmark for our young men. And according to mainstream media, if you are not excelling at fourth grade, that is an indicator to the dominant society that your child is on his way to the penitentiary, for lack of a better term. For lack of a better term, your child is on his way to the penitentiary if he's not excelling by the third or fourth grade. So I'm 99.99999% sure mainstream, other communities are not living like that. Me and Big Illinois are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Kirk Franklin situation. And I will invite you guys in, either via the call line, which I'm setting up presently as I talk to you, or via, you come in the show. Be seen, be heard, be counted. It's easy to sit back and say what you would do, what could happen, this, that, and the third. But one of the biggest, the greater issue is, what are we gonna do? Because hey, at the end of the day, the rules are not the same for us. We can pretend, oh man, we're gonna vote our way into equality. I don't believe that. But what we can do, I got Denise Milk and Cookies in the building. Thank you for the support. It's always good to see you. We can talk that talk, but at the end of the day, that talk is null and void. And what we're going to have to do is figure out how we are going to handle our young people. How are we going to handle our young people? What are we going to do? What are the answers to these problems? Because, hey, at the end of the day, they have it mapped out. I'm a history. Thank you, Low Key. Thank you, Low Key. It's always good to see my girl, Low Key. She's in the building. Much love. Should we be copying the Chinese thing with a 10,000-year plan? Will we be here in 10,000 years? Do we need a 40-year plan? Do we need a 100-year plan? Or whatever? We need a plan. And without a plan, we ended up right here. I don't want to go all into the historic facts of being snatched from the continent. We know that. I don't want to beat that drum. I do that on Mondays. I beat the hell out of that drum on Mondays. But right now, what are we to do in 2021 in March about parenting our young people? When Big Illinois comes in, what I'm going to do is put it on a shared screen, and me and Big Illinois will preview. We will let you guys hear the Kirk Franklin call, and then that's where our jump off point will be. My man is here now. Big Ill, what's good, baby? What's good, man?
It's good, my brother. I had to escape to the dungeon where the kids at. We doing some remodeling, so excuse the drop ceiling, man.
It's all good, man. No judgment. What I'm gonna do now, we could either play the YouTube video if you want, or what we could do is I have it queued up on the Spreaker software, and then we'll get this thing going. I'm gonna queue it up on the Spreaker software because I want the entire thing to play too, because it's kind of interesting to me as well. All right, here we go.
I did it. He just hung up the phone. I'll break your neck. Is that a threat?
What y'all think about this entire situation? I was raised in a home where kids shouldn't disrespect their parents. I did hear the son curse at his father, but as a Christian, I don't know if he should have lost his cool and took it that far.
That's what I want to talk about right there. That's part of what I want to talk about. That's why I left it on there, because I don't know how you feel about, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all already know leader of the Backyard Podcast, leader Smooth Grooves, traditionally on Thursdays, and the Hip Hop Show on Saturdays. That's one of the things I want to talk about this as well. The whole world is talking about this right now, and like me and you was talking on the phone when we decided to do this. What are your thoughts? First of all, I want to get this out, and then I want to hear you. First of all, people, after I downloaded that and listened to it again, I realized that was an edited conversation. At one point, you hear somebody in the background laughing, and when he's spazzing out, there's nobody in the background laughing anymore, and his voice is way up here. First, he right here. First he was checking. He was right here. He was in his chest. And then when he started checking him, when he spazzed out, his voice went up high. So it was clear that was edited situation this entirely. And let's go. Let that be our jump off
point. First off, he's 33 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I first heard that Kirk Franklin cussed out his son, I was like, all right, okay. What did he do to deserve to be cussed out? So it has to be something, because when I first heard it, I picked up on what you just said, because you could hear somebody laughing at the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I gotta cuss, man. I'm sorry. I gotta talk like I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Just because he Christian and sings "Smile" or "Stomp" don't mean that every once in a while he got to stomp motherfucker to get them and smile while he doing this shit, man. Dude, I want to cuss that motherfucker out, man. Man, the fuck up. Didn't he tell him to shut the fuck up too? How you talking to your parent like that?
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes down to, man, when are you gonna leave the nest, man? Who is he? Like a 2021 baby boy? Except the mother is the father.
He worse. He worse. Baby boy didn't seem that old. I'm writing stuff. Oh, okay.
Who would think to record a conversation between you and your parent, though? That's like ultimate disrespect, dude. But because you know the sister came out and said that that Buddy shouldn't be his childhood, he was privileged because of Kirk Franklin, and he just chose not to make anything of it. Which, I mean, in every family, we have that one that, you know, just for whatever reason just feel entitled. But I mean, it's sad, but just because he a Christian, he don't supposed to
lose his school.
Trespass. So what, they think he don't supposed to have kids because he a Christian?
Well, I'm gonna jump in right there, bro. You know what? It's a joke. First and foremost, this is a 33-year-old man. Stop talking to me like this is his son. Back when I used to do sports, I'm talking like it was 10 years ago. Before I even go further, I want to shout out to Trey Natural for the support. I want to shout out to Sister Benita Winfield. I want to shout out to Jay Ron. And I want to shout out to the show killer, DJ Mad Knox. He's in the building. Much love. Thank y'all for the support, even on the impromptu side of the game. Please hit that like and share button. Hit that subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notifications when we start. And thank you for the support. But see, this is what I used to always rail about on the sports show. Man, stop telling me about some stats, because the stat is that's his son. That's the reality. But this is not a boy. This is not an adolescent. This is not a young man. This dude is old enough to have a family. So guess what? When you talking to another man, that's how you talk to another man.
This dude, if he was in sports, he'll be at the end of his career.
Thank you. Had he been a ball player, anything but a baseball player, people be thinking, hey, you got 2-3 more years now, young Franklin. And that's the thing that bothers me, man. I don't feel bad. I feel bad that Kirk Franklin, that we live in a world that's soft enough. Shout out to number one Chief Rocket Tracy Byrne. Thank you. We live in a world that's ridiculous enough to ask or look at Kirk Franklin some kind of way. Like this lady goes, he's a Christian, so he shouldn't have did that. My religion or my faith has nothing to do with another man challenging me. Because you know what? The last time I checked in the Bible, they picking up the jawbone of the ass. They throwing rocks. They killing people. So miss me with that. See, that's that moral high ground that Rob Orr talks about on the Jawjackers. But at the end of the day, man, this is an argument between two men. And why do we live in a world in which we feel that it's cool to take our family business in front of the court of public opinion? If anybody, shot down First Lady in the building, I got my man D-Grade in the building. If anybody want to participate, I'm going to put the number in there, 773-797-2409. And we got Zoom capability as well. If you want to participate in either one of those, and we'll get right at you. You know what I'm saying? You can be a part of the show. But this is the ridiculousness in this era. First of all, you don't ever bring your family business in front of them and call yourself a man.
No, but you know what the killer
Second
part
of all,
was?
Kirk Franklin is your father.
He's his father, and he thought more as far as, hey, you know what? I'm having a disconnect with this 33-year-old man. I'm still going to call a therapist to see if we can get some type of intervention to help us out in reference to this, which is what a lot of people should do. I mean, I actually, when I was going to float an idea by you, like having like a show every once in a while. like when I start back up on the Backyard Podcast, to man, maybe we should start having shows with like interventions, man. You know, sometimes you need somebody to talk to. They might not talk to us on, you know, but if you get somebody to start talking, that might help the situation. And it sounds like that's what he was trying to do by bringing in a therapist. But this dude want to be taping crap. I'm lost.
I'm gonna say this. Shout out to AT&T with this shitty ass internet again. Bastards. What I'm gonna say is, Kurt Franklin should have been threatening him to break his motherfucking back because his motherfucking ass is putting our family business in front of the world for me to be degraded. And what you did this for is to chase me after my money. That's what we're gonna talk about Monday on Forecast. The bag. At what point does the bag, the loyalty outweigh the bag, or the integrity outweigh the bag?
Right.
Or is it worth it? Off talk shows, social media. He said he would. He said what he said. As a parent, and needs to explain. No, he don't need to explain this action. That's why our sister DJ 2Q, she in the building. Thank you, 2Q. Exactly, man. Look, what's going on in my crib? It don't make a difference what you think and how you react to it, because that's not what we're doing. We are not doing that. And the fact that this punk ass dude, that's what we really need to talk about. This is a punk ass man.
And it's obvious that he's still living off his father as well. You could tell, not without even knowing what the full situation is. You know, I'm not trying to pass judgment on him and say, hey, he a drug addict or, you know, butt pirate or whatever. But you could tell that he's living off of his father, man.
And at 33, it's time to cut it loose, homie. See, but this is the world in which we are raising these young men and these young women. He's not even a millennial though. He's generation. What is we generation X.
Right.
So he's between X and millennial. What's that, Z? Or it should be generation P. Because this dude is, hey, I'm gonna say you ain't want to curse. I'm cursed. This dude is just a pussy. For real, man. And I'm sorry if I offend anybody with that kind of language, but that's what it is, man. You tried to front your dad off. Look, man, you're a grown man, and you blaming your issues on your parents. Come on, son. Get up out of here with that nonsense. That's pure nonsense and madness.
This is off topic, but I gotta say something about this this rhetoric that's going around the blacks against the Asians. Okay, so in every neighborhood, ain't no blacks targeting Asians, man. People don't listen to that rhetoric. And are we boycotting a lot of them and people starting to wise up and maybe open up their own shops or stop going to these places where they beating up our sisters and disrespecting everyone, and they starting to feel it? Yeah. But ain't no blacks targeting Asians, man. We don't do that as a people.
Yeah,
so please, and I need them to stop with that rhetoric, man, because you got these celebrities that's just stop the Asian hate. We stand with them. Who the fuck's standing with us? Dude, they on 70, what's that, on 79th where they beat that one girl, choking her and all that shit? And the brother stood up for him and was like, let's boycott him, even though some sisters the next day still went in there, but still. I mean, I want to see the statistics. I'm sorry, man. I'm pissed off about
this. This ain't English class. This ain't English class, bro.
It pissed me off because you sitting here and trying to start this narrative like I'm getting up. You know what? Oh, man. I'm about to go down on Kedzie, man. I'm about to fuck the motherfucking Asian up, man. I ain't got nothing else better to do. No, man. They got to stop this narrative, man. And these black celebrities need to stop feeding into this crap too, man. It ain't happening.
Especially them.
For real, it's not happening, man.
It's not. It really isn't. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I see more people in listening and watching than people hitting that like button. Please do us a favor. It helps the algorithm, helps the show stay relevant, helps spread the information. You know, you might just be on YouTube one day and see your boy rap you, and you know we had a show on much like today. But you're right, man. I mean, but this is, you know what? This is what I preach about on Tuesdays. That kind of topic that you're talking about right there is why I do shows like this. Is why I stopped doing sports, because we have to have a counterculture to the propaganda about our folks. We are not a violent people. Like the sister said during the George Floyd uprisings, y'all better be glad we looking for equality, not revenge.
Right.
People who are looking for equality don't go out and attack other disenfranchised or other abused communities. That's just not what we do. We don't have a history of attacking. We have a tradition of responding. We don't have a tradition of attacking. But you know what? That goes right. That actually, it may not seem like it to you. It may not seem as if it tied into this conversation, but it does tie into this conversation. How it ties into this conversation? If we start raising our kids properly, and we start being a community and a collective again, it don't make a difference what they say out there. See, this boy is raised in this everybody get a trophy generation. You're entitled to things in generation. So whatever the TV says, that's what's real. Black on black crime. I guarantee you, if you went outside, anybody who's listening or anybody who will listen in the future, the very next time you talk to somebody about anything that's pertaining to our community, they're going to mention black on black crime. The question I have is this: if black on black crime is such a rampant scourge in our community, how the hell we got time to go beat up the Asians? We killing each other, remember?
We carjacking.
We carjacking. We killing each other. We hurting each other. We beating our women. God damn, we real busy, man. And then all of us getting up going to work tomorrow.
Hey, we real busy and real lazy at the same time.
Right, you can't be that active and that lazy because we selling and using all the drugs. We beating our women and impregnating them and leaving them. We not raising our kids. We don't want to work, yet we working every day. Y'all got to give us a break, or we're gonna have to realize what's really going on. That's why I want to talk about this parenting thing, man. When do you cut? When is it okay? When is it acceptable to cut your adult children off? And again, man, if anybody want to be a part of the show, I'll send out the link. It's in the chat room. If you have something to say, or you can call 773-797-2409. Either one, you're comfortable, you're not comfortable with being on video, being seen all around the world. You got your bandana on your head or whatever. Okay, we got somebody. We got the homie D Great. His device isn't connected, but D Great popped in. But yeah, man, when is it okay to say, look here, Deborah, Frederick?
You know what? That's a kind of touchy subject. I think we hit on this subject when we first started doing the backyard, because I had asked why is it when we as a culture, you always told at 18 you need to get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Some cultures actually allow their kids to stay, grow, and until they 26, 27, they get their money up for a house and they move on or whatever. That's not embedded in us. I think it's because a lot of it I think happened to do with like a lot of single parent homes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
So most of the moms tell them, hey, you got to get out. Most of the women got to get out to become, So that's a touchy subject, man. As far as because my thing is this, I will continue to support you. I only have one, so I think it'll be a different situation. But I continue to support you if you are. Sorry about that. I'll continue to support you if you are going to school, trying to do something for your kids, and then you get your paper up and you move out. But if you're not doing anything, I'm actually hurting you more than I'm helping you.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in D. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna bring in D. Gray. I totally agree, man, because I told me and Nicole, we told our kids, stay here with us as long as possible. You know what I'm saying? Different cribs or whatever. Because for one, you're deprived of opportunity. Two, you're not getting the best possible education as humanly possible. So you'll be underdeveloped socially in some cases. So you may need a little walking down the street, because guess what? Our asses didn't figure it out until we was 29, 30, 35. So you have more leeway in regards to that. So I definitely agree with you. I don't think we should be kicking our kids out into this wicked ass world anyway. Me personally, I begged my son to stay in my crib until you walk. I want my son to walk out of my house into a house.
Exactly.
Into his own house. That way, you ain't paying no rent. Like I always say, man, by the time you retire in 20 years, your house is paid off. With that being said, I want to bring in the homie D. Gray, straight out of Compton. I mean, my bad.
Great.
South Central Los Angeles. Greatest D. Gray. DeMarcus Graves in the building. Thank you for being a part of the show. What's good, brother?
What's good, bro?
We talking to you, D. Gray.
What up? What's good? Well,
you got to tell hook the internet up better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you. I can hear you, bro. I can hear you.
I got that same AT&T service that HRap got.
Man, horrible, bro. AT&T ain't shit. I'm finna move though, so I'm gonna get 2 cans and the string, get my internet going. Man. It's got to be better.
Yeah, what's good, bro?
What you want to add to that, D. Gray? What's good, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there. I think we on a delay, so it's just kind of throwing me off. But good topic. I don't know how much you guys gonna talk about where it's gonna flow into the weekend, so I don't want to give out too much. You feel? You guys have hit some good points. The Kurt Franklin situation. Oh.
You must be trying to listen to the show and talk. It ain't never gonna work like that. Turn your volume down on your phone. You there, D. Gray? You there, D. Gray? Well, D. Gray frozen until he unfreezes. Like I was saying, Big L, man, I think we should encourage our kids to stay home. We should want our kids at the crib until they could walk into their own crib. Because this rent shit ain't doing nothing but paying for somebody else's European vacation. Whatever, financing somebody else's child's college. Only thing it's doing is doing what you have to do. So, seeing how we've made the mistake of, okay, he gone now. Seeing how we've made the mistake of not including
you breaking up real bad.
We didn't we made the mistake of not purchasing a home, not furthering on our children.
Yeah, I agree.
And I did like I was saying, man, didn't want them to be time. What's up to the homie Steve? What's good, brother? At the same time, man, if your children, if this young person in your house, okay, D Gray, he said it's internet connection is worse than mine. So, but if we don't, but you still can't have a child or a young person in your house. It's only one dog in the house, man. And it's only one rooster in the hen house, Jack. This is my joint, and we not gonna be in this. I run this, and you hear anything when you're 30, 35, 40 years old. You know what I mean? With that being said, man, this is a hot button topic as well. There's studies throughout the diaspora about rearing children and capital punishment or corporal punishment or spanking or whatever you want to call it. There have been years and years of studies saying if you spank your children, you are doing them a disservice. What are your thoughts? Spanking goes back to when we were as a young person up until they're an adult, and this is the purpose of a lot of our young people failing academically in other places. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you feel about spanking, capital punishment, corporal punishment, whatever you want to call it?
Verbal abuse is the same too. I would group that in there as well.
Verbal abuse is worse.
You know what? My nephew used to get my nephew used to get so many whoopings. I mean, he's not a bad kid or bad seed, but it's just he was just one of those kids that continued to, hey, don't touch that. Whack, 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 whack. Next thing you know, he's still touching this shit. I mean, I don't know, man, because I didn't go through that though. So I wouldn't be able to answer that though, to be honest with you. I mean, I try not to
continue to it.
I'm sorry.
I said you can have thoughts on something and not be subject to it. I mean, you got thoughts on the death penalty.
I mean, right, but as far as like I don't think like excessively whooping a child is the way to go. I think you can use that as a teaching moment. Now, if they doing something bad at school, I mean, yeah, I can see that. But even then, it still should be a teaching moment. Some people just beat their kids because they're taking out their frustrations in life on their child because they feel like, hey, you know, it's a burden. I mean, that child didn't ask to be brought in this world. So, you know, I think the verbal abuse is about it could be on the same footing. Get over here, you little motherfucker, and you lousy man and all that, you know. Yeah, I mean, so I can see where that can fuck you up at later in life, especially if the mother continues to beat on the son. I think in later in life that can turn him into one of those beaters, man.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I think that does play a major role. See, I want to address Low Key first. Low Key said, let me go find it. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Low Key said, when you bring grandkids in the house, then it's time for you to go. I understand where Low Key is coming from. I understand the sentiment of what Low Key's statement is, but what I will push back on Low Key with is this. My mom had kids at 16 and 17. So do you put a 17-year-old out in the midst of high school? I don't think so. Even if you're older, I think we have to one second. It's all that. I mean, yeah, we have to have some leeway with our kids. We have to have leeway with people. We can't ultimately punish somebody because because at the end of the day they got caught doing some things that we all did, because we all had what they call unprotected sex now, where we was just sneaking on doing grown people stuff.
Yeah.
And even if you're an adult, you're gonna be doing grown people stuff, and it's still a mistake. You know, we got it. I personally feel we have to get out of the mentality that perfection don't have a reset button, because we're trying to get to perfection or greatness. You slip and fall all the time in the midst of trying to establish greatness. So with that being said, one of my brothers on let me address this. One of the brothers, Ivan, they all have it. It's a feature that's on every single solitary YouTube channel. And there you go. Got it. There you go. We have to stop. I think our community, we're not allowed to have mistakes as Black people. And we got to get away from that, because we gonna all try drugs. Well, a lot of us gonna try drugs. A lot of us gonna try alcohol. A lot of us gonna have unprotected sex and not live the life that we supposed to live. We cannot say, well, since you got caught up, this is the penalty. And I think that's part of the problem as well, because we're not allowed to have mistakes. Shout out to Ivan, one of the brothers I do forecasts with. I think that's part of the problem as well, man. We don't think about it, man. We are not allowed to make mistakes. I think what we've done is structured our lives behind the dominant society. We have lived up under this oppression for so long. We've taken on their characteristics, but only towards us, and that just jacked up. And like with the corporal punishment thing, man, I used to be an avid believer in spankings and whippings and things of that nature. But I've actually come around after reading some of those studies and looking at videos and things. I've done a 180, man. I'm quite sure there is a situation that will come about that you may need to give a child a spanking, let them know. But I've come to this conclusion after watching a bunch of watching and reading. Hey, man, if you can't manipulate a younger person, that's why pedophilia is wrong, because these older men and women are manipulating these younger people into doing things that they're mentally not ready to do. They're physically ready to do them, but they're not mentally ready to do them. So maybe as a community, we should remove all those things that the people who beat the brakes off of us and beat us into submission and dominated us into something. Maybe we need to work on other opportunities. And Denise said, I spank my children religiously. I spare no rods. And hey, Denise, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying maybe it's another alternative. Because
I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I said, though, you can. I mean, it is some badass kids in this world. I know some badass kids. I know a badass shorty that I'll be looking like I'm gonna fuck this little shorty up. But you know what though? It's you have the bad shorties who should be getting spanked or they popped every once in a while. But then these parents are not taking that initiative to, hey, if you pop them on their leg one time, hey, don't do this because of this. And you know what? That's hot. You know, something like that. And I've been around a few people that don't have that psyche. They just want to and, you know, go in your room. You sitting in my room. You know, it's you know, if And the thing with if when once that child realized that they can run to the police, or I mean,
Yeah, the
tell
police. That's what it is. Call it what it is. It's the police. The
tell
authority.
somebody that they don't like the way that they being disciplined, that takes away the parenting too as well. So, I mean, I think it's more so like our generation, like people I want to say about maybe 35 and older, probably spank our kids a little more, or probably have spanked our kids a little more than this younger generation. Younger generation, all I see them do is just holler.
And maybe we shouldn't be hollering at our kids. I mean, you know what? I learned this actually. I learned this from you. I remember when your daughter was like 3. You should talk to your daughter like she was like 15 years old. And I just watched you. And I think somebody asked you, hey man, why are you talking to her like that? And your response was, because she's a person. She's not a doll. I'm not gonna goo gaga to her. And maybe, I mean, like Chief Rocky just said, man, I used to get my ass whooped. I never had a problem with it in my life. And I need some damn glasses. That's what I need. That whooping today, I whooped my sons, and they never turned out bad. And I'm not saying that it's what we went through is bad, because here I am. I had a great life. I mean, I wasn't rich. We wasn't rich. Me and my man lived next door. We wasn't rich. But we had some good lives. We was never hungry. We were never bummy. We did what we wanted to do, went where we wanted to go. We had the latest fashions. So we, at the end of the day, we had a great life. But simultaneously, maybe, and I know this is definitely true for me, because I was strict disciplinarian. I look back at my methods, and I have issues at times, with my kids push back at things now. But maybe we would have less pushback if we use cognitive thinking processes versus physical. Because when you teach your kid, when you start talking to your kid critically, they become critical thinkers. And when you become critical thinker, you'll be able to, you will be able to process things. You will think before you react. And that's just something we should, as a community, we should think about, because I mean, there's way to I'm not sure what they're doing on the continent, but I know the way we hit our kids now is a direct result of how our ancestors were treated 300 years ago. So why would we carry that? And I'm telling you, I used to be fucking up. Right? What? That was me. But maybe we should look at it a different way now. Because just think, man, what is the number one complaint about the young people today? These young motherfuckers stupid. Yeah. But if you start them to thinking early and stop assuming that they don't know, because one thing I've noticed, and I want you to respond to this. One thing I've noticed, if you let a small kid, I'm talking about 3-4 years old, just let him do what he want to do. My niece, my great niece, my nephew's daughter, I've seen her use an iPad with the greatest of ease. So if she figured out how to use an iPad, what if we start making these young people that age think their way through bad situations? So now, I hate to say this, now you won't be on the Grammys rolling around in your drawers in a big giant bed talking about your wife. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm going through that now with my grandson Zach. He was nonverbal for a while, so now he's starting to come around. But as far as like, if like now I hear him, he's upstairs probably building an army fortress or something. I'm like, how do you know about this stuff? But I mean, yeah, man, it's that's why you try to sit them down, talk to them, or maybe like watch something instead of watching what's a cartoon that's just like Tom and Jerry.
Mhm.
Maybe watch something more informative like
Teletubby, Bubble,
Leave
something.
the Truck or something like that. You know, Peppa Pig or something, even though they talk funny, but still.
Yeah,
You know, something like that to try to get them to so once they do start to, hey, you know what, you turn around, you be like, okay, damn, he creating a traffic jam on my floor, even though I got to step on these damn cars. But like, where you get this from? So,
I mean, it's developed. It's man, hey man, I watch these little people, man, and like they are geniuses, and I believe this. When you shut up, like okay, Michelle and her kids. Michelle talks to her kids all the time, and they have dialogue, and she'd be like, "Boy, cut it out." But I'm sitting there like, "This dude 11. How the hell he know this?" But it ain't no physical. It's all communication style. And I'm gonna reach at Ivan. Ivan said we can't blankly spank. We have to mix it up. Punishment can't always be physical. Discipline can't always be physical. Exactly. And that's, you know what, the greatest problem, and this is something that my mom, God rest her soul, she told me this maybe about 4 years before she passed. And big dude, my son was a small guy. He didn't get a spurt till later on, but he was intimidated by me because I was barking hard, right? And this is what my mom said to me one day. I was like, boy, I'm yelling at him. And then he went and did what I asked him to do. And my mother was like, hey, remember you told me sometimes you were scared to talk to me about stuff? I was like, yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah, you finally admitting it. She's like, yeah, that's how you feel right now. Yeah. So, and one of the things that I believe one of the mistakes I believe that we make as parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles, aunts, whoever who's in charge of being in control of these kids is this. We don't talk to them like you used to talk to Quasi. We talk to them in a I know what's best for you kind of thing. And you can't ask me that because I've lived longer than you kind of way.
But you want to know why I don't? Well, this is my opinion of why a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They could just turn on YouTube Kids and walk away and do what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. But I think we should, like, dude, when I found out about practical application, school was, I could have been a straight A student. Imagine if we wasn't just telling our kids, do this, and start saying, you need to learn this because you want to do this. If you want to do this, this is how this ties in, and so forth and so on. You see what I'm saying? We don't, as older parents, these younger people, they got it. But as older parents, we didn't do that. It was go to school, do what you want to do. And then you get teachers like me and you have my African American studies. Just imagine that, dog. You've been knowing me my whole life better for the most part. An African American studies teacher that told me I wasn't going to be shit.
I told you, Mr. Boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dude told you was going to fall asleep in the welfare line. Imagine had that dude had the communication skills to say, Mr. Lansdowne, I'm going to need you to focus, man. Because you're on a path of destruction. This is not going to benefit you. Or Mr. Bowman, old puss ass. I hope he listens. Because I will slap him down today. He could have said something. I'm saying this is a class. Look, are you ready for this? I didn't even need that class. I didn't even need that class to graduate. I took that class because I like Black history. And I didn't learn jack in that class. But we have to stop talking to our kids as a what is it, subservient position to a superior position. And as we're teaching them, as you use the terminology you use, was a teaching moment. We should use our communication times with our kids as teaching moments. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree 100% because that cat, well, that was an African, actually, which is crazy. That's ironic. There was an African American Studies class, and we didn't talk about any Africans until the end of February.
Dumbass.
You know, like, what type of class is this? And, you know, it's just one of those cats that was African, and I guess he felt entitled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, hey, I'm gonna try to insult this cat into learning. No, you can't do that with nobody who's trying to learn. I was just laughing because somebody was cracking jokes next to me. Actually, I mean, my boy Coley was actually the person cracking the jokes. I was just laughing. He didn't say nothing to Coley because Coley was probably he probably was scared of Coley because, you know, Coley was
6'5",
right in high school.
Yeah, freshman, 6'5" freshman.
So, you know, it didn't. It was lucky that I had the mental breakup to kind of laugh it off. You know, I kind of tell it as a joke to my nephews every once in a while, but I mean, looking back on it now, I should have punched that old motherfucker in his face.
Damn near. The homie Will said, I barely have to lay my hands because I talked to her. I barely have to lay hands because we talk about what happens and why I'm laying hands. But I need some glasses. But if I change the tone of my voice or give a look, it's handled. And that's what I'm saying. We need to be able. Any psychologist, therapist, psychiatrist will tell you 80% of communication is nonverbal.
Right.
And if you don't believe it, you can even look at something as rudimentary as a dog. You could tell a dog something, and somebody can speak another language and say it to that dog, and that dog respond the exact same way to that command. You can say sit in Spanish, say sit English, the dog sit down. The dog understand English, the dog understand, okay, it's time to sit down. So obviously, this verbal abuse that we shooting at these young people, and verbal and physical abuse that we shooting at these young people, it's non-effective because, again, lecture style teaching only affects 20% of the people. You have to be able to communicate on a specific level. Only reason I got I used to be scared to death of my mom, but guess what? A couple times a year, I came up in there with some Q's, damn, an F. I'm like, whatever. But then it'd be, oh, you ain't going outside for the summer. Then I come back with the A's. So my thing is this, man. My thing is this. I believe, and if you still smacking up your kid, well, pat, 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 give him the old pat, pat, hey man, do the thing. Because that's the way I was raised, and that's the way I raised my kids. But I'm just saying, maybe we need to start looking at some alternatives and have more communicating. You need to do this. Who needs to do this? You. Why am I doing it? Because of this. What am I doing it for? The 5 W's and how. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's what we need to start focusing on, I believe. Because at this point now, you sitting down, because you know what? When we talking about these police shooting our kids, we sitting down with these young men, these young ladies. Hey man, we're very structured, we're tempered. They can ask questions because we don't want them to die. Exactly. So when they make mistakes, again, imperfection cannot be a blip in the road. Cannot be an enemy of perfection. You know, we all strive to be perfect, but you can make mistakes. Hit the reset button, man. Greatness. It's a reset button in greatness. Oh, okay, you messed up. Go again. Because each and every one of us has a sense of pushback. So we need to expect that in our children, maybe. Because They're not us. I'm not my mother. If I was my mother, I'd probably be a billionaire right now, but I'm not my mother. My mother was my grandfather, Richard, my grandmother, Dolores. Jump. And she stayed in the air until they said, hit the ground. Me, I'm like, you got hit me, man. What I'm jumping for? Bow. No, okay, I'm going to jump because I don't want to hit no more. But it has to be something different. Because if we start, I personally believe, if we start communicating with our kids better, that'll motivate them more. And then the man is in trouble. That's just me. That's just me. I mean, and nobody's wrong in how they run their house. That's something else as parents we need to be doing. Stop saying somebody running how somebody else's house is run is wrong. In these conversations, you're not wrong, Denise is not wrong, Rocker's not wrong, I'm not wrong, Ivan not wrong, Wilk's not wrong. Anybody's listening to this isn't wrong. Because guess what? The world spins because we all tilted in a specific way. It's our way. It's the way your house needs to be run, and nobody has. But let's stop trying. This is not the Skip and Shannon debate show. And like, I mean, when I say this is not, I mean, life is not the Skip and Shannon, Stephen A's debate show. It's about Denise saying something, and I take it in my head, and Wilk say something, and I take it in my head, and then Rocker says something, I take it in my head, and I say something, and they all suck it in, and you say something, we all suck it in. And then it might just be, and then it's a gumbo, man. Nobody's wrong. We just, hey, man, at the end of the day, man, we all guessing, man. But Kurt Franklin's son is a crank. But he ought to agree on that.
Yeah,
he needs some corporal punishment. He need his ass.
Yeah,
yeah, man. But I know you got to go, man. If y'all want to continue the conversation, Big Lloyd got to go. He got about 2 more minutes in the jam. If y'all want to continue the conversation, put it in the chat room. Yeah, let's continue. Y'all know HRap talk to the wheels fall off. If not, man, I'm gonna close it out right here, man. But Big Illinois, what are your final thoughts on this? And hey, y'all tune in Saturday. Go ahead. What's your final thoughts?
Oh no, I mean it's just that I think it's unfortunate that he would bring their family business up into the light because I guess his motive was to try to bring them down. But dude, you're 33 years old. I mean, if that was a 15, 16-year-old impressionable young guy, then it would have been different. But man, you didn't been cussed out by outsiders or train conductors worse than that, dude.
Yeah, his boyfriend might have cussed him out worse.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there.
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna say his girlfriend.
I wasn't gonna go there, man. I was trying to refrain from that. Just because that was a unmanly act, I wasn't gonna say that he was.
Yeah. My bad. My bad, young Franklin.
But yeah, man. But we need to talk more, man. Especially to these youth, this youth, because they getting information from sources that, it's just the internet it can be used for good, and it can cause a lot of harm too, man.
Yes, indeed, man. And with that being said, man, I want to thank everybody for coming in, man. Big Little Run is gonna go. I'm gonna sign off. It was just something, man. We had it on our mind. We put it out there in the universe. Hopefully, it helps somebody. If not, we did have a conversation because it's about sharing ideas, man. We don't have to agree. Nobody, anytime we log on to this show or any of my other shows or any show that you ever see me on, we don't have to agree about anything. But we need to just keep having these conversations because Ivan, Wilkes, Rocker, Milk Cookies, Denise, Too Cute, and whoever else participated, we all are right in regards to our homes. Anybody tell you how to run your house? And guess what? As Chief Rocker stated, we all got spankings. A lot of us got spankings. And most of us turned out to be pretty good people. But how about this? Maybe if we don't spank as much and talk a little more, we'd be great people. With that being said, y'all, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench podcast. This is the prequel to a greater show. Oh, okay. Denise said you can keep talking if you want. You know what? I'm gonna cut it off, Denise. I'm gonna keep. We are going to have part 2 to this. I'm gonna have my homegirl Benita, who's in the chat room. My homegirl Kimmy, who's probably listening in the background. I'm gonna have let me see who's gonna be on here. I'll tell y'all who's going to be on here. Candace Brooks, my niece, Kimmy, Benita, my homegirl Seneca, and that might be it. And we're gonna talk about parenting from a woman's perspective. You know, me and Big L. I invited some men. If y'all want to come in, I got 7 slots I can fill. 8. Me and 9 other people could be in this conversation. So if you want to be in, hit your boy up. As long as you have a strong internet connection, I'm gonna reset my router so I won't be on Saturday. So, AT&T be jamming me up. Shout out to D Gray for coming in, man. Whatever you had to say, I'm sure would have been pertinent and powerful because D Gray is a good dude. But if y'all want to come in 5 p.m. Central Standard Time Saturday, that is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wherever you at, let it come in. If you down, Chief Rocker, I'll send you the link.
You down?
Okay, you down, Chief Rocker. You're welcome to have a conversation, man. And like I said, man, let's stop having conversations to be right. Let's start listening to understand versus listening to respond. With that being said, thank you, Big Illinois, for having this conversation in front of the world. And thank y'all for tuning in. As I say every week, this show is overseen by my family and Reggie O'Shea, a.k.a. Combat Jack. And that's why I always say, dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live your dreams. It's life without dreams and life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in technicolor, surround sound. Get on top of everything, or you're going to find yourself on the bottom. And if I owe you something, I ain't got it. If you need it, get it from God.
Hey, man, I'm gonna start ending my show with the great Negro poet Luke Campbell. Don't stop, get it.